Before integrating any AI, I started with a very simple baseline strategy on the MES futures, running on the daily time frame from 2019 until today. The idea was to build a clean, easy-to-understand model so that any improvement from artificial intelligence becomes immediately visible. By the way, if you want to look at the full code yourself, the complete NinjaTrader and Flask project is available for download in the description. Even if you're not a programmer, the logic is very intuitive. The strategy looks for a pullback inside an uptrend and tries to position itself for a continuation of the move. Today's close is below the lowest low of the last 5 bars, and today's high is lower than the high from 5 days ago. Position size adjusts automatically using ATR, account size, and a risk percentage. In simple words, the strategy buys dips inside an uptrend while adapting position size to market volatility. Exit conditions are symmetrical. Price breaks above the highest high of the last 5 bars. Today's low stays above the low from 5 days ago, meaning we exit once the bounce is complete and momentum accelerates upward. Now let's look at the raw performance of this basic strategy. This is the version without any AI filtering. As we can see, total net profit around 115,000, profit factor 1.63, maximum drawdown negative 77,000. Win rate 71%, 53 trades, it makes money, but the equity curve is unstable and the drawdowns are huge. This is exactly the kind of strategy that works on paper, but is psychologically nearly impossible to trade. Now that we've examined the baseline strategy, one thing becomes clear. It works, but not consistently and not safely. So the next question is, what happens if we keep the same strategy, but ask an AI model to evaluate every trade before entering? Instead of executing every signal blindly, NinjaTrader will now send the last 100 candles to GPT 5.1. The model analyzes trend, volatility, momentum, and directional structure, and returns a profit probability score. If the probability is strong enough, the trade is allowed. If not, the trade is skipped. The strategy still generates the signals, but the AI decides whether they make sense. Now let's run the backtest again, this time with AI filtering. When NinjaTrader loads the strategy, something important happens behind the scenes. Each time a valid trading condition appears, like for example a long setup, NinjaTrader automatically sends a request to GPT 5.1. This request contains the 100 most recent candles, including open, high, low, close, and volume. GPT 5.1 analyzes the entire structure of the market, the trend, the momentum, the volatility regime, and whether price action actually supports the idea of going long. And here's the key part. This process works even in backtest. As the historical data is replayed bar by bar, the strategy sends the information to GPT 5.1 exactly as if the market were live, and the AI returns a probability score for each moment in time. So we are effectively augmenting a traditional backtest with real-time AI evaluation. Now let's look at a few examples. At bar 106, a long signal is detected, and the probability returned by GPT 5.1 is 0.82, a very strong environment. A few bars later, another long signal appears, but this time the probability drops sharply to 0.18, meaning the structure no longer supports a long. Then bar 151, the score rises again to 0.66, indicating moderate alignment. These shifts show how the AI continuously evaluates the quality of each setup instead of treating all signals equally. Because each request takes a few seconds to process, I'm now going to fast forward the video so you can see the full sequence much more quickly. Now that the AI-enhanced backtest is complete, we can compare it with the original results. On the left, you'll see the original version of the strategy without any AI filtering. And on the right, you can see the upgraded version, where every historical trade is validated by GPT 5.1 before being executed. Let's break down the results. When we compare both summaries, the improvement is immediately visible. Before AI, the strategy executes 53 trades. Profit factor, 1.63. Maximum drawdown, negative $77,722. Average trade, $2,174. Several large losing trades dragged down performance after AI filter. Total trades dropped to 37, meaning the AI eliminated the weakest setups. Profit factor jumps to 2.46. Maximum drawdown is cut in half, down to negative $37,649. The average trade increases to $3,005. Win rate improves to 72.97%. So even though the strategy trades less often, the trades it takes are significantly better. This is exactly what we expect when applying a probability filter. Fewer trades, higher quality, and much better stability. Equity curve comparison. Let's move to the equity curves. On the left, the equity curve is extremely unstable. You can see long periods of stagnation, deep drawdowns, and an overall inconsistent trajectory. On the right, the equity curve is much smoother. Drawdowns are smaller, recoveries are faster, and overall performance is significantly more consistent. The strategy still experiences volatility, and that's normal, but the path to new highs is much cleaner. Drawdown comparison. This graph highlights the difference even more dramatically. On the left, the drawdowns are severe with multiple drops greater than $50,000. This is the type of behavior that makes a strategy untradeable in real life. On the right, the worst drawdown is reduced to around $36,000, and most drawdowns stay in a controlled range. The strategy not only makes more money, it makes money more safely. This is one of the biggest advantages of using AI as a risk filter. It removes the trades with the weakest directional structure, resulting in dramatically lower stress on the portfolio. With the AI filter enabled, the number of trades decreases. The average quality of each trade increases. Profit factor improves sharply. Drawdowns become much more manageable. The equity curve becomes cleaner and more stable. In other words, the strategy becomes significantly more robust. This is a perfect example of how AI can enhance an existing trading model without redesigning it entirely, simply by validating each setup using probabilistic context from recent price action. If you want the full project, NinjaTrader strategy plus Flask server plus AI prompt, you can download it directly from the description. Comment below and tell me, what features do you want me to add next? What strategy should I test with AI filtering? Do you want multi-time frame analysis? I read every single comment, and your ideas will shape the next version of this system. Also, if you don't want to miss the upcoming videos, make sure to subscribe right now.